Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka Dying Inside.
I'm Christian, aka Sudowoodoo45.
I'm Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, I guess we're all technically dying
Yeah,
inside. So
I mean, varying
that
degrees.
can be applicable.
No,
Anybody,
I'm gonna live forever.
anytime.
My consciousness is going to a robot. I've told everybody this. It's
Can I ask you, do you want to see what comes after us? Like, do you think living forever, like, do you want to live forever based on the current state of things in the world?
yeah. So mostly, I'm thinking that if I can get my consciousness into a robot,
Okay.
my main goal will be to outlive all of my enemies and then
Okay.
flaunt it over their
Okay. That's a good answer.
spiritual
That's-
forms. Yeah.
That's fair. And just so everybody knows, I'm not dying inside because of the current state of the world. I mean, I'm sure that's bad, but I've actually been so busy at work, I haven't even had a chance to see what's going on out there. So, I went.
Nah, we're just making jokes about Pearl Harbor today, brother. Don't worry about it.
No we.
I-
No we.
Was at two airports, the Atlanta airport and the Austin airport, for a combined total of about 16 to 17 hours.
No, thank you.
And it was pretty evenly split both ways, actually. So it's not like one was terrible, the other was fine. No, it was like both. I showed up at the office and worked for about 8 hours, like a normal. Actually, I got there at like 8 and worked till like 5:45 or something, whatever that equals to. But it was far less than airport delays. I will tell you that. And shout out to the one airline that starts with the big letter D. They sent me a message that was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for your loyalty, and we know it's tough out here in these streets, and like you can choose whoever, but you continue to help us out, and we're so sorry that these delays do not meet our level of service and expectations that we have. Anyway, talk to you later." And I was like, no points, no nothing,
Gonna give me something.
nothing offered,
Yeah.
just like
I
a
don't even know
little.
why I made this shocked face. It's just.
You didn't ask them.
The problem is, here's the thing. You know what you would have to do? You'd have to call, right?
Complain.
You'd have to go scorched earth for 45 minutes, get escalated and escalated and escalated just for somebody to finally be like, all right, sir, I'll toss you a bone. Here's some points. And at that point, the company would be like, we're going to reward you for this bad behavior of you acting like an asshole and doing all these other things, and we'll give you what you're finally asking for. But we know that 95% of people are going to open that email and do exactly what you actually did, which is look at that and go, fuck you, and then just be done, right? And they'll be like, that's what we're banking on. And that 5%, we are okay with them calling our customer service agents and berating them and making them cry and doing whatever else that they need to do. Because at the end of it, we'll give them their points and they'll move on, and then they'll feel like they won, even though at the end of the day, but these points are fucking imaginary. We're just giving them out anyway.
They mean nothing. So I got to the airport early on Monday because like all weekend I've been seeing long lines, and then the morning I was supposed to leave at like I got up there at noon, but the day I was supposed to leave at like 8 a.m. people were like, there are 4-hour lines. Like get here 4 hours early. It's 4-hour lines, and even because what happened is there's two places for the normal people without TSA, it's normal and clear, and then there's people with TSA pre-check, so then that one's like clear and pre-check, but like they split off. But the line was so long, you had to stand in hours of lines before you got to the split. So it went back to the main service, it serpentined around baggage claim and then outside. So I'm like, well crap, I'm gonna get there early, right? Even today there were like 3-hour lines, but I got there early. But I do sometimes if I need to, if I'm not driving and like take a Lyft, I'll do a little travel hack at the Atlanta airport, which is you go to the international terminal because they're connected. They're about 2 miles apart if you drive, but they're connected by an underground train that takes you between all the different like where your planes would be, right? All the different gates. So I went to the international terminal, and I was the only person in TSA pre-check. Walked right through. So I was there like super early, but talking to somebody else from Atlanta that made it to the meeting, they stood in a 2.5-hour line, only with Clear, mind you, only to find out that Clear was closed, and they had eventually made it to their gate with 10 minutes to spare. So like, I'm glad I got there early. I'm glad I did the heck, but on the way back, I told him, I was like, dude, you got to go through international on days like that. And because it's like people don't know. I think people assume you have to have your passport to go through international gate, and you don't. It's normal. But people don't think about it. And he sent me an article that on the way home that week that was like TikTok influencers sharing going through international stuff, which I've done for years. And it says like the Atlanta people, like whoever work there, like Atlanta HQ, what have you, ask that people please don't do this. And I just responded back to the person's text message, said no.
No,
Like unless you're
no.
yeah, unless you fix it. No, I'm going to keep doing this because even if you put it on TikTok, there's not enough Gen Alpha that's going to create 4-hour lines at the airport because your parents aren't looking at that and your parents aren't going to take you and the rest of the family through there. So like, no, I don't care. So anyway, that's my experience this week. How's it going, everybody? What's happening over at Preston's comment corner?
Yeah.
To dive in.
All right. So we did get a comment from Jakey Poo. So this one was from last week's prologue. He says that I actually disagree with Christian on Scarlet Violet, the new Pokemon game, or the latest generation Pokemon game. I had a great time with that game, and the DLC was extremely fun. Arceus is still probably the best Switch-era Pokemon game, but Scarlet Violet are very similar with its mechanics to Arceus. Also, and I put this on my week because we forgot last week, also I had a blast playing Splitgate 2 with you guys. Hope we can play again soon. I appreciate you all downloading it to play with me. Love, Jake. Yeah, I know Jake listened to the episode, so he heard even Alex going, yeah, we played some Splitgate with Jake, so we're going to talk about that at the end of the podcast when we get to Preston's week, and then we just totally skimmed
Did
over
we
it and
not?
didn't mention it at all.
I don't remember.
We'll talk about it this week, Jake, I promise. As long as we don't forget this week.
I'll respond to this. I'll just go to my weeks. I beat Violet this week.
Nice.
So I have more thoughts, so I will respond to this. So here's the thing. I think that I do not think that it is as good as Arceus or has any of the things. Like I think my issues. I have turned the corner a little bit. Like I do think Violet has good things in it and is better than I originally thought. Like I think it does get there at the end. I did not play the DLC, to be clear. It's just the base game that I beat. The DLC is still like almost $40 so I'm not that'll be, but the one thing that I'll say that didn't change after me playing it is the performance is garbage. I mean, it is truly horrific. There are times where I am sitting at like 5 FPS. It's too much.
I wonder if that's the whole like Switch problem to where like a lot of those games, I don't know why, but like even like some of like the Zelda games have an issue with like getting good performance out of it, and then Switch 2 just magically fixed it. I don't know if they were.
The reason that I would say that I don't buy that is because I don't know if
that's for Violet and Scarlet though.
I don't buy that because Monster Hunter Rise exists on the Switch.
I understand that, but a lot of Nintendo games just for some reason don't seem to perform well on the Switch 1, which is wild.
But we know the reason now. The reason is because Game Freak is given pennies to develop these games. Well, not just
Game Freak. Like there's other even like Nintendo branded games like the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom run smoothly in Switch 2.
They run better, but on the regular Switch, like I played both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and there was a couple performance hiccups here and there, but for the most part, those still ran at like a pretty decent-ish 30 for the whole time. There is no excuse that Pokemon should be 5 FPS in certain sections. Okay. Like it should not move like characters are looking at a fucking slideshow. That's crazy. And also the fact that it's $1 bazillion and they have Game Freak developing these games for pennies on the dollar and making them ship. Like, and this is actually what I was going to get at, is that there's some things here that really frustrated me towards the end of but frustrated me for the developers of Pokemon, which is like, you can tell that if you can actually see that they were trying to. These games are developed to have features that they just don't get to. Like, when they talk, like towards the end, there's like these big cutscenes of like you and your rival and some other things, and they're talking to you and other people, and like they have like full mouth movements going on for the words they're saying, and you can tell that they even have emotion that they're trying to convey in the way that it's speaking, but there's just no fucking voice acting. But you can tell that it was definitely like, well, if we can get to it, but then it's like, oh, but we also don't have the money for it because Game Freak isn't going to fuck it.
They left the animation in, but there's no voice.
Right, there's no voice acting
Incredible.
anywhere in the fucking game, and there never has been, right? Like they've never done voice acting in any of these games. But for the older ones, like on handheld, it was mostly hand waved because you are in the isometric perspective, and you're just like, it's just, you know, you're like, okay, cool. It's just there's never been that whatever.
Era. Yeah, sure.
But with the Switch ones and this one specifically, like there's cutscenes at the end at Violet that are like, I would argue like are high-ish quality. Like they put work into them, and then you're just like, dude, you like it's clear that it's just like they're like, nope, ship it, fuck you, you're not doing it. Like it's just the developers are just being
now,
we want our money now. Stop doing this. And so but you can tell that it's like the developers like want to do this. Like they definitely are like not only have it's like it feels like they're like leaving breadcrumbs for people to find to be like in the coal mine, being like, help us. Like they're like trying to like get out. Like it's, you know, and so then there's the things like that. I had multiple moments while I was playing this game, especially towards the end section, where like if I was like looking for a random Pokemon or I was doing something or I was trying to catch one, and then like the camera would just be completely fucked up. I think I showed Preston this while we were in the wedding, but like
all off.
Yeah, it's like fucks up, and it's just like I can't see my Pokemon. I can't see the person battling, and it's just I'm like I'm just looking at a patch of grass that does nothing, and it's just like, guys, what the fuck are we doing? Like it's just and again, after finding out some of these things, especially what we know now about how they like the budgets of these games, like I feel for the developers because it's, you know, for the longest time it's always been like, oh, the devs of these games are just shitting this stuff out, and which, you know, we have a very well documented past on this show of arguing that you know, it's always on the publishers and all these other things, that developers don't ever actually want to ship anything bad. But that's been the narrative for these games all the time. And then you find out what the budget that they get to do these games on, and it's like, well, okay, now this makes way more sense. Like, you know, I also think the way that like, there's things that I like and don't like about the openness of how this game works. Where I like the idea, I guess, of like when you start the game up and it's like, hey, we've got 3 different story paths. We have your traditional, go to gyms, beat the gyms, go do the Elite Four, do your thing. There's that path. Then there's the Team Rocket equivalent, their Team Star in here, and it's like, that's a whole separate story. And you go and do their 5 gyms, and like you'll do those. And then the other one is a scientist one where you're working with this dude, and you are trying to figure out the like some weird Pokemon related events that are happening across the continent, right? But it's 3 separate paths, and you kind of just are allowed to like go and just like do them in whatever order you think that is the best one. And now the problem is that there actually are set levels. The game doesn't tell you this, but there are set levels for each one of these things. And so the idea that it seems like they had is like, oh, if I bumped into one of these that's too hard, I'll just go try another one and maybe I'll come back later, right? And I'll just see where the game lets me go. The problem in that approach that they took is that they have this mechanic in there that anytime that you're at a Pokemon Center, you can go, I don't know where to go. And then the game will be like, I think you should go here. Now, if this mechanic worked in the way that it was supposed to, where it would read your level, read your average level or whatever it is, and then go, okay, this is the closest one. Given the things that you've completed, this is the closest thing that you should go do. Instead, and I've tested this and I looked it online, so I know I'm correct, but the thing that it actually does is whatever is the physically closest distance to you,
that's the next one,
is the one that it recommends. So, for instance, if you are average level 30 between all of your Pokemon, blah, 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 and you just happen to be close to one of the level like 65 gyms, it will just tell you to go there. And you're like, okay, and then you go, open up the door, get fucking wombo comboed, and you're like, well, I guess not. So then it's like, that whole mechanic is like, oh, okay, so by just telling me the physically closest thing to me and not actually what's good for me, you can just throw this whole mechanic away. There is literally no reason to even have it in here because it doesn't work. And so then you end up having to do like a lot of trial and error to figure out what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And it ends up kind of like putting a little rush on certain things where back in the old games, before experience share was a thing, which I know, Preston, you were talking about you having to work through now, which is, you have to go and level up your Pokemon to be able to get to a gym, blah, blah, blah. And then every single time, this has been a thing through all of them, which is that every single time you get a gym badge, it tells you, congratulations, now the maximum level for your party is whatever, and that's when Pokemon will obey whatever commands you give it. If they go above this level, there's a chance that they might stop listening to you, because they want to avoid people. The whole reason that mechanic got introduced in red and yellow and blue and green originally is that it stops people from being able to grind out all of their Pokemon to level 99 before the first gym, blow everything through, and then just being done.
Someone
right?
gives you a trade in a whole bunch of high level shit, so you just blast through everything. Like, no,
right?
You're not prepared enough to talk to these Pokemon yet.
Right. So they put that blocker in there to me, so that if somebody tries to give you, or you end up trying to get a level 99 whatever, that it won't listen to you. And so there's nothing that you won't be able to do anything with anyway. So you have to engage with the game's mechanics on the way there. And that's fine. And people usually never really bumped into that limit all that often, because without experience share, you were always cycling in and out Pokemon to try to keep their levels up, and it ended up lowering the lower average of levels that you were going into a fight with. In the era of experience share, people complained that grind became easier, but still, in the games that you were only doing Pokemon gym battles and just like following a direct story, it still never really became an issue, because you only had one path to go on. So you are going down you're going to the different towns to beat these gym leaders. So by the time you would get to that town, with experience share, typically all of your Pokemon are right at where like that max level is before you got that next badge. You would get the next badge and go, cool, now your max level is 45, and you're like, great. And then by the time you made it to one, all your Pokemon are you probably have a couple, like the one that you're using, because that will get more experience. That one's probably at 44, 45, and the rest of them are probably hovering around like 42, 43. And you would just do that until you get the final badge, and then it was like, great, now everything will listen to you, the real game's open now, go do your thing. The problem with the approach that they do in Scarlet and Violet is because you only have the one path that can give you the higher level badge, have other Pokemon listen to you, but you have these other story points that you have to go do to be able to get to that level. It got to the point where I had multiple Pokemon that were constantly either at the level requirement or above it, and so I had to stop, and I was like, I have to skip fights. Like, I can't. If I even keep trying to fight in these certain things, I'm going to get to the point where they're too high, and I won't. And so, which I'm assuming they must have known, because now in this game, fights are completely optional, for trainers. So in other Pokemon games, obviously, as soon as you lock eyes with somebody, boom, you got to fight them. And they planned routes and everything with having trainers waiting along for you.
That pops up when they get in your line of sight and stuff like that. Sometimes you would plan around them. It's like, I can't handle this. I gotta get around them.
I don't want. I'm weak. I need to make it to this town first before I come back and fight this person. Absolutely, 100%. That is not a thing anymore. Yeah. So you just have to go talk to somebody to seek them out. But because I'm doing all of these other fights along the way to for these other story paths, if I were to do all the trainer fights and do all this other stuff, I'm blowing past I won't be able to do anything. All of my Pokemon would just stop listening to me immediately. So I don't think that particularly works either.
They would probably say, well, you could have different teams for different paths, so that way you're not over leveling this one because this path. They're well, you got to rotate out more Pokemon, not just your 6. You got to have another team.
Yeah, the problem is that I don't know that people, maybe they do, but like maybe like younger generation players do. But the thing is like for the most part, most people don't play Pokemon that way. Like,
oh no,
you go in and you are like, I'm gonna catch the coolest looking ones that I think are cool, and then those will be my team, and I will get a full squad of cool looking ones, and then if for whatever reason I find something cooler, then I will switch it out at that point. But until then, I'm just gonna keep using the ones that I think are cool, because why would I not do that? Like,
So you're only gonna fight with 6, but can't you collect all of them?
yes.
yes, but that's so when you collect all of them, though, like it's like a separate goal, right? Like completing the Pokédex is usually you're doing that to gain items,
And they're
so,
not
like,
getting
you will
experience. Unless they're in your team of 6, they're not getting experience.
For sure.
So the other ones you've caught
Yeah.
that are in your little Pokemon computer, they're not going to level up
Yeah.
as you're leveling up your 6 team.
That was always my problem with Pokemon, and even Arceus or whatever. Like, my brain problems. I was like, oh, I have to catch everything. And then in Arceus, it's like, oh, it's really easy to tell what's a shiny, so now I have to catch all the shinies, and I just like, it broke me.
Yeah. And so like, all of that being said, I guess to make a very long point, try and make it shorter, is that I don't think all that stuff works in this one. But when I finished it, there were a bunch of things that I do think worked that I was like, it's clear that you guys are you're trying to do something here. It's just clear that you're not given enough money
Or time.
To be able to do it.
That's
right?
why I'm
and so like
excited for Beast of Reincarnation, because I want to see what they would do outside of Nintendo's like.
So I found out.
I know they've done other games, but they're all kind of smaller games, right? They're not like.
Well, they are, but the thing
bombastic
is,
as
with Beast of Incarnation, they are not even the main developer on that.
Oh, okay. They're just one of.
Yeah, they are one. There's like tons of outside studios that are basically hired to help on that one, okay. And I was like, well, that makes way more sense.
Nintendo would not do that for Pokemon. Yeah.
No, but so here's the thing: is that like one of the story paths that you do, that like where you're going and investigate, it all culminates in this fucking story where this like the professor. Spoilers for Pokemon Violet for like the next 5 minutes, I guess, but like. The professor, or were you going to play it, Preston? Because you are, I won't say.
One of these days I will probably play it because.
Okay, so then never mind. I won't play it. So, or I won't say it.
Scarlet.
But all I'll say is the end result of this story is actually a cool twist that I was like, huh, that's neat. Like I have not seen. For most Pokemon games are usually like. Outside of older ones that had good stories, there's a lot of ones now that are just basically like sunshine and rainbow story.
You and your friend went through all the gyms and all the top Elite Four. So
and most of this game is like that, but there's this one particular story thread that has to do with like the one that when you go and investigating all these weird occurrences that are happening, that like actually pays off in kind of a neat way that I was like, you know what?
Okay.
Right on. And you have these moments, like I said, you have these moments that's like there's good shit like flashing through, but it's just held down by all of this like shit that I'm just like performance issues and weird decisions and like all this stuff that's like in any other game it would be cleaned up at least a little bit, and in this one it's like you guys have no excuse. It's a bazillion-dollar franchise. It makes the most money out of anything. But now it makes perfect sense too when you see their budget. You're like, well, that's how you were able to make so much money, is because you
don't put anything back into it.
Yeah, and so it's just pure profit. Like it, yeah, I don't know. Like I think there's a lot of cool. Like there's some new designs for new monsters that I think are great, and there's other ones that I was like. There's winners and losers in every single new
trash bag
generation,
Pokemon,
right?
like, do you really need stuff like that? Like, I get it.
Yeah, exactly,
you run out of ideas,
right?
Let's look the next household object and make it a Pokemon.
Yeah, basically. But then there was some good ones. Like they have straight up. There's a Godzilla, equivalent in this one that I was like, when I found it, I was like, fucking my man, welcome to the team.
I thought there was already one kind of like that. He's like, he had like green skin and
You're thinking of Tyranitar, and
yes,
it's kinda, but this one is like.
More Godzilla?
-1, basically. It is basically like, hey, here's the -1 model, and you're like,
fair enough. All right,
my man.
all right.
But yeah, so that all being said, then I was, I finished that, so then I started messing around with Fire Red and going through that. It's fantastic. Of course it is. No, I won't add, there's nothing more to add than what Preston was talking about in that game, so. But yeah, and then, I don't know, man, like, that whole journey that I went on also just made it so that I was like, I'm just, like, mad about the current state of this industry. Like, right before we started on, like, NVIDIA released the DLSS5 shit, and it's basically just, like, our worst fucking nightmares of this stuff.
I actually am to the point where I'm having trouble. I saw some legit photos of
I've
it,
dived
and
into
then
it
I
a
saw
lot.
some really funny memes of it.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of funny memes of it, yeah.
But then, like, there's some in between where I'm like, I actually don't know if this is people actually testing DLSS5 or if it's a joke. Like, is it actually able to take some of these games that aren't necessarily humanistic and make them humanistic just based on AI? Like,
it has
some of them
to
I
have
really can't tell.
cooperative input from the developers. So it has to be some of the developer says, yes, we can do this. Here's our help with that. A lot of the cool stuff I saw in there that was somewhat decent is like it's supposed to take what you have and it's supposed to render it to make it more natural, more realistic. So a lot of the faces you would get are supposed to make it to where like the translucent stuff that we have with our skin that makes our faces glow a little bit different with lighting. It's supposed to help get that. But what it's doing is it's taking the models of the characters that they have and it's trying to transpose a better looking fidelity on top of that. Like this is what's this is what developers do not have the technology or time for to make right here, blah blah blah. But if you see, and I'll put it down here, like the side by side with Grace from Resident Evil 9, right? Like that looks like a different person. Like it unfortunately
it looks awful.
Yeah, it unfortunately looks like I was thinking about her name this entire week when I've been looking at this. The one who accused Johnny Depp of abuse. What was her name again?
Oh, I don't know.
Amber Heard. For some fucking reason, it looks like Amber Heard, which just sours me a little bit more on what it looks like. But it also looks nothing like Grace, right? Like even like Grace has just pure natural blonde hair, but all of a sudden when you put the DLSS5 in it, she has like little darker roots in there, which I guess they think are going to be shadows. But like no, that's not how blonde hair works. And like all the lighting and a lot of this stuff is just like overly produced lighting, like to make everything pop more, to make details pop more.
It looks like the shitty
it looks
AI
like
filters
Instagram,
that people use.
like VTuber, like not VTuber, influencer lighting. To where like every character has like 3 to 4 point lighting on themselves to where it makes it look better. Like, and I'm sure if you watched a little bit of the showcase, Alex, you'll be able to see the difference. But like the older lady that they had in Hogwarts, like the quick little snippet of they have that, to where like all of a sudden she has all these more wrinkles on her face and stuff like that to make it a little more defined. I'm like, I can see why some CEO would sit there and go, that just looks better. Like our thing is doing better with it, but everyone is just
not
like
a human with eyes.
We can see. We can see the AI imagery. Like this looks like something you would see on an ad for AI bullshit on a weird website, right?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. Is it's like it's just, and you see like Adam Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, came out and was like, I disagree with all these people talking shit about it, and he's like, oh, the developers get to control of this and yada yada. They can clean this stuff up so that it can match their artistic integrity and blah blah blah. And it's like, right, okay, but even if that's true, which it's not, it looks like AI and it is AI and DLSS. The thing is he like tries to argue about this, but DLSS has always been AI. The whole even the frame generation part is using AI to put simulated frames, like by his own admission. So shut the fuck up. But also, like it was like, okay, well, if developers are in control of this and they can do all of these things with these polygons, like, it'll keep all of this stuff intact and yada, 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 then what's the fucking point of doing it in the first place? Because no one, not a single human being that saw Resident Evil 9, like just on that example, that saw Resident Evil 9, came away from that game thinking, you know what would be great about this game is if it looked better. No one said that. Everybody has, all the reviews, everybody that's been seeing this has talked about.
Reviews, people like the way it looks. Like it's
people have been freaking out about the way that it runs on Switch 2 and how well it does. So like, it's just bullshit. It's just, you can't stop because you aren't making enough money, because it's not giving you the return that it needs to for all the money that you've already spent on it. And so just like we've said in other episodes before, it's just like the horrors are going to persist until shareholder values increases.
But look, we got product for you to show you that you've been spending money on.
Yes,
people hate,
and it's just like,
well, it's it's beyond. I mean, it's beyond just saying like, look, we have product for you that we've been promising. It's the fact that now devs are going to be told to cut corners and allow NVIDIA to do the heavy lifting.
NVIDIA can do it for you, right?
And that's fine because NVIDIA can do it for you, and that's fine. So you can cut staff, but that's great because NVIDIA is doing it because they need you to buy their GPUs to keep doing it. So
and publishers are going to tell
prophecy.
Yes, and publishers are going to tell studios exactly how they do it in the private sector right now. Developers or publishers are going to tell developers that they don't need to spend as much time on any of this stuff anymore because all you need to do is just use DLSS5 to clean all this shit up. Mm-hmm. And then people will use that and be like, just told, hey, if you have one of these graphics cards, it'll look best on this, and you can do that.
You heard what he was using to get those slices, right? He had to use 25090s to get those vertical slices for you.
Yes.
In no way in God's green earth in 2025 that you are going to have fucking 2026. Jesus Christ. In 2026, like no one's going to be able to afford something that is going to be the equivalent of
whatever their
250.
next 6 series.
But that's also because like they can say, hey, look how special you are. People that bought early and bought the 5060, 5070, 5080s. You don't have to do 5090s. Like I get it, you do, but that's why we leaned into the NPU cores.
But it's also the 6 series cards that this is all going to be for. Yeah. It's how NVIDIA has always done their shit. But 6 series cards are going to come out and they're going to be even more AI focused than the 5090 or the 50 series. The 50 series still have some, and it's not as much as the 40 series, but 50 series still have some like local compute that still happens that makes them beefier cards. It's just there's a bunch of AI shit that's also tacked onto it. These 60 series cards, whenever those come out, will be just AI cards. It's just straight up. They will be programmed for AI, and that's what they're going to do.
Thousands of dollars.
But that led me down this hole where I was just like, I'm so mad about this, and it like sours me on all of this shit to the point where like now I'm at the point with like I made a comment on the last time that I went on this rant, I think, but it was like the shit with Arc Raiders, right? Where like it uses AI, like they fed real voice actors' voices into AI, paid them for that one day of work, and then they just said, hey, going forward, you've given us permission to use this however we want going forward, and you aren't going to be a part of this anymore after this one session, right? Whatever. People were like, this is weird, but whatever. You paid real people to do it, so fine. I'm at the point now where I hate this shit so much that I'm like, I can't even bring myself to even like I'm that's it for me. I'm done. Yeah. If you have AI in your game, that's it. I don't want to play it.
I mean, to be fair, AI in different forms has been in all games since like the beginning of damn time. So,
and it's like but not this. Like if you're using generative AI,
generative AI is the more precise.
And if you're using that, then it's like I'm not in. That might mean that I miss out on.
It's the most like mindless bullshit, like call out wires and stuff like that. It's like, you didn't even need to have that. Like, no one needed to speak out and said wires here. Like, no one needs that.
But for me now, I'm just like this. That's it, right? And then it made me. And then that led me down this thing where this discussion point that I kind of wanted to bring up at the end of my week, which is like, I then got mad about that because I was like, that does suck because there is actually some aspect of Arc Raiders, despite the different things that we went through about this on this game, but like. There is something about that game that I think the reason that it's such a cultural, like, pop off for everybody is because there has not been a game that has allowed such social behavior between strangers online in a video game form since the 360 and PS3 era. Mm-hmm. Like, just straight up. Yeah. Like, I was thinking about this moment, on the long drive home from
Travis's wedding.
Travis's wedding in Atlanta or in Georgia, because I was listening to a podcast Preston and I listened to, and I was letting it rip through, and we were listening to it. But afterwards, I'm sitting there and I'm having this thought where, like. There was a moment that all three of us were playing. We were playing Arc Raiders, and there was a random team that came through, and one of the dudes was playing Share through his microphone. Do you guys remember that? Yeah? And it was this like hilarious moment where we heard.
And it's like in the distance because of like the field of audio.
But it's in the distance, but it's getting louder and it's getting these things.
Hilarious.
And we're like, what the fuck is happening, right? And then we hear it, we're like, oh, dude, this is hilarious, blah, blah, blah. And we shoot the shit with those guys for a little while and we walk off. Whole thing, right? But I was thinking, I was like, man, the last time that I remember hearing like random music coming through a fucking microphone was like Halo Reach lobbies back on the 360 where somebody would leave, or even earlier, right? Like you know, Halo 3 or Halo 2, where people would leave their microphone in front of their fucking speakers, like their stereo system, playing fucking some song, and it would be blaring into the thing, and you're just like, these weird moments, right, that happened during that time, a time that we all pine for, right? Like it happens, and I was like, you know, there's like that happens in Arc Raiders, but I've noticed that like ever since that era, right, like there was a few games that tried to keep that stuff alive, but it really started dying off. Even like Alex and I have talked about, and I know you played a little bit of it too, Preston, but you are still you didn't get to see any of the end game stuff, obviously. But like with 14, right? 14, when we started playing, had this giant sense of community, and everybody was very social and super nice and just chatting about random shit, to the point where Alex and I would even make fun of it sometimes. We wouldn't do it out loud, but we would do it to ourselves. We're like, there was some people being very, very personal in online for no fucking reason, but they were just doing it because they felt comfortable. They were just chatting with people. They didn't give a fucking whatever, right? That's what happens. And like, you know, we would make a comment being like, that's weird, like that's a lot, but like I would never.
We used to have people that would dump in dungeons when we'd be running around dumping chat. Be able to
right, but
like,
Alex and I'd be on voice chat and we'd be like, that's crazy. But in chat we might be like, oh hey, you know, sorry, whatever, and then we just move on, right? But in voice chat we'd be like, yikes, right? But like either way, even that is dead now. Like when like the times where Alex and I have went through this, the most recent, not the most recent patch, but the patch that we were going through, no one fucking talks. Like it's just dead silent, and if you do talk, it's to complain. And
even when we ask, we'll be like, hey, first time here, first time doing this, what do we do? And like it'll just be silence. It's like, well, guess we're just gonna figure it out in the moment.
Yeah, right on. And then like I noticed the same thing is happening with like WoW, where like WoW is not even so like people going back to classic versions are doing this. People are starting up fan servers again, even though classic is still a thing that you can go buy. They're starting up fan servers to be able to go and have that sort of like community experience again, because people are still like trying to get back to that, because it's you know, arguably when it was at its peak, like when gaming was at its peak, I guess. But like, so it's like that. And then like I was noticing this too, like when Press and I have been playing through Phantasy Star Online, like, you know, that game was a lot of like pre-social stuff, right? But like even when we're in that lobby before we get in and start running missions and stuff, people are literally just hanging out and talking. Like they are just chatting through the in-game messaging service and like doing this stuff, chatting it up with either friends or strangers, doing this shit. And it was like this whole thing where I was like, because Arc Raiders is, and I don't know what caused it, right? Like I don't know if it was influencers that ended up getting people to somehow be on board with like proximity chat again and like chatting and talking to random people, or what. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because Arc, like they just hit the lottery and it just so happened that people just don't have an issue with it for this game. I don't know. It's probably a combination of things. Who the fuck knows? But like, I do know that any other game that is made like this, 9 out of 10 times, is not going to have that social experience ever. Even games that have had it are losing it. And I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, that sucks, because that's a fun experience anytime that we get on, even when it's negative. It's still a fun experience to go around and see random people talking, chatting, doing these things. And then now, because of, and arguably part of it's on me for putting this line in the sand for me, but it's like also it just makes me more mad about all this AI shit that is like happening, because I'm like, you're making me do this. Like I have to quit playing this game because I don't like this shitty fucking stuff that you're doing, and an otherwise experience that I think is fun and is fun to experience with people, and is this weird flash in a pan of a moment from 20 years ago that I thought we would never get back, and we all of a sudden are in this one particular game for some reason. And it's like, I'm not playing that anymore because you guys won't fucking stop. And if I it's like the whole you give a mouse a cookie thing. Like, if I allow it for this AI thing, then it's just going to continue its usage and whatever. I don't want to be a part of it because fuck you and all of this dumb shit that you're doing. And so anyway, I was just like, I'm like, I came away being more mad at modern gaming, but then I was more happy about the book club shit that we're doing, about when we go back and revisit some of this
games,
this old shit, because I'm just like, fuck, man. Like,
so it actually leads to a question that I had. I was going to ask you a minute ago when you were on your pedestal about Pokemon. I was going to ask this. We've had so much Pokemon talk recently. I'm looking to play one, right? But I don't have a Switch. But I do have the ability to play some preserved games or retro games. So I was wondering, like, what should I go to if I'm looking for like just an easy, like, pick up some Pokemon and play it and put it down when I don't have time.
Honestly, the Leaf Green and Fire Red is probably your best bet, because you probably played the older ones back in the day, and this will have at least enough newer things in there to like make you feel like there's some type of improvement, not just playing, very monochromatic as far as color looking game. I say one of those because you'll get the nostalgia, you'll have everything that you remember from those, you'll know most of those Pokemon, and you'll have a nice like reminiscent thing of like, oh, I'm going to face Misty now. She's going to beat my ass. I'm going to have to walk away from this gym and do some other stuff, come back there and come back and fight some stuff. And I know all these Pokemon. I think that's probably your best bet, or like maybe like one of the Soul Silver, the other gold ones, just of that generation, to where it doesn't get too much into like we added all these things. If you want to get back into Pokemon you haven't played for like 20 years, I say go for one of like the newer remakes or adaptations of the older ones. But
yeah, I think so. The new release of Fire Red and Leaf Green are slam dunk choices. Those are great.
Originally on Advance,
I also think that if you wanted to go, I have three ones that I would toss out. It's either the Fire Red and Leaf Green ones that you can go get that are the new hotness, and it obviously you grew up in the 90s like we all did, and so every Pokemon that's on that roster, you'll go, that guy, I remember you, and then you won't be confused about being like, who the fuck is this thing, right? Like it'll be ones that you know straight through. You won't be confused at all, and you'll be like, I'm locked in. Let's go. I think the other option is if you want what most people consider to be like the pinnacle of the 2D sprites, where it stopped, like this when they transitioned into the 3DS going forward and started doing some 3D models and things, is either of the white and black games. Those would be like the pinnacle of that. Like, this is as good as it got for the 2D art style, like sprite stuff. And the stuff that they did with that. And then otherwise, if you wanted to go to like a modern-ish one that's not on the Switch, I would do Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Those on the 3DS it's what got me back in after missing out on tons of generations of them. When those remakes came out, I got in on the 3DS and was playing through it, and it's phenomenal. They're amazing. They're very, very good. And at the end of it, it's that Ruby and Sapphire were still the Game Boy Advance generation, so they were right after, like they were still in that early generation. So like most of the Pokemon that are in that, there's like, it's before they got really fucking bananas with it, and at the end of it though, they have this like whole little like portal system where they rotate like a bunch of legendaries in there that you can just be like, oh, was this legendary one that you might have been missing from all these older games that for whatever reason is impossible to come forward and all this other stuff? Don't worry. We threw this portal in, you walk in, you battle it, you catch it, you're out. Like, and you can just do this shit. So it's fun that way.
Nice, yeah.
But those would be my recommendations. I would say either three of those, if you wanted to get in on it and you were just like, I want to, feel it again, any one of those options would do you well.
Yeah. Christian and I had a little conversation this past weekend just about retro games, and I've played like nothing new this year. I did play the Monster Hunter game, right? The stories demo, but it might be out by now actually, or maybe it comes out.
It is out.
It is. I think it came out this week, actually.
Yeah, scoring extremely well. Everybody, it has
sure.
tripled. It's tripled the sales of that franchise. Like it is 3 times as high as Monster Hunter Stories 2. People are very, very happy with that game.
It's one of those things where like I'm looking forward to playing that. I don't have the time to buy and play that right now, but it's like the first game I've looked forward to this year so far, and we're almost in April. And it's like, man, retro games, going back, like you said, Christian, to these like video game book club games, and the one we'll talk about later for this week's episode, I'm not playing the remastered version. I'm playing the OG, and I'm like, man, this looks fucking great. Sure. And like, I don't have to worry about all the bullshit that comes along with a lot of this, and I've just been enjoying it. Like, not the pressure of any new game and the communities and the live service and the keeping up with this and that's going on. Like, I've just had a blast with some of these older games.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Like, I think we're at the point. We're at a lot of people's breaking point. Like, I even saw. I mean, like, dude, you're still even seeing people go back. Like, we'll talk about the last thing, and this honestly can transition into Preston's week a little bit. But like, the last thing I played this week was Street Fighter 6. Alex came out. He's really fun. Awesome. I know that people are very upset about his story details. That sucks. I'm very sorry for the story lovers.
Whatever. People are saying that
I feel the same way you do.
It's his cousin and stuff like that. I'm like, first off, these are anime characters that have had probably multiple stories in multiple different games that are convoluted. So,
I look, for me, if that was Ed and he had that backstory all of a sudden, I also would be bummed. But it's not Ed, so it's easy for me to be like,
it's not Ed, it's not me, so sucks to suck.
So yeah, but look, I get it was a very odd detail to include. I don't know why Capcom felt like they needed to do that. They could have just done nothing.
What is the spoiler detail?
There's a story detail that Alex
at the very end of the arcade
was getting
mode,
down and dirty with his cousin.
So it's the arcade mode has like a beginning and an ending, like little like 2D art cutscene kind of deal. And just kind of showing you the character, like how they're a little different than the other iterations that they've had.
Just a story update.
At the very end of this one, as he goes back home after doing all like the fighting and stuff like that, and there's a girl waiting for him there. She's pregnant, and it's like this whole sweet thing of like, oh, I can feel some movement there. He puts his head next to it, and he's like, oh, she kicked, and he's like, oh, took down Alex, huh? That's a big one. It's a big kick. And then all of a sudden online, I'm hearing like, that's his fucking cousin. I'm like, all right, guys. Oh, fucking K.
Maybe like a 6th cousin or a 5th cousin.
Cousin in general, not great. But also, like, maybe not cousin. Maybe, like, who knows? I didn't know who Alex was before he came out the other day, so, like, I couldn't fucking tell you if it's a cousin or not. I'll look into it, but, like...
It is a weird detail to add, probably unnecessarily.
If it's possibly a cousin, yes, it's a very weird detail, because you could have put anyone there, probably, at that point.
You could have just said nothing. You could have done anything. So just think.
Could have not met a wife and kid.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I did not know anything about Street Fighter lore really up until like 5 anyway, and I think that fighting games
1 and 2, but they give you a little bit.
Yeah, and I also like.
Who cares about the story?
With Guilty Gear being the exception, I don't think that fighting game stories should even be included. Like, I think that it just should not be a thing.
I mean, story's a lot of fun, right? Mortal Kombat has like one of the best campaigns of a fighting game altogether for the past
but Mortal
Kombat, fun, dumb stories, very bombastic.
Mortal Kombat is more of like it's like a campy action movie that you're watching each time, and so it's like
horror movie, yeah.
Right. Whereas like, and Guilty Gear is the one that's like trying to tell an actual
and just be
like
crazy
video game story kind of thing, right? So that's what I mean, like limiting to those, but like anything else, I'm just like, does anybody really give a fuck? Like, oh, and Tekken, to be fair.
Well,
but like,
when you hate a new character and he's getting beating your ass, you can go, well, that guy's a cousin fucker, and you can walk away from that fight not feeling too bad about it.
Wow, Preston.
I like Alex. Okay, Alex is probably gonna be my new main, to be fair, because he's fucking awesome.
That sounded like such a slur, even though it wasn't. You just hit him so hard.
Yeah. But I was gonna say was though, it's like I have this moment when we were playing Street Fighter where Street Fighter passed its all-time user count during this new patch.
3rd year.
And and I was like, it says to me, like, look, Alex is cool, and I know that people were excited. And I think all the Kenny Omega stuff is very fucking awesome.
Yes.
I am not trying to
Nice
downplay
hype
this at
behind
all.
it, yeah.
But there is no fucking way that somebody can tell me that the only reason those people showed up was for Alex, and that's it. No. People are waiting and chomping at the bit for excuses to even go back to games 3 years old because they're like, God, just get me out of this fucking hellscape because every day it gets worse.
You don't need live service. Just drop something a little bit new once or twice a year, and then people will be coming back to your game, and it'll be great.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. I was just like, it is gonna. Thank God for this book club, but also it feels like we're at the point where it is going to get astronomically more difficult as time goes on to see how this medium continues in any sort of meaningful way before it all gets blown up.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you'll have plenty of companies out there being like, we're not going to deal with the AI bullshit. Like, we're not
right,
for us.
for sure. And
they'll make them look better to a group of people as well. Be like, okay, we're all tired of this AI stuff. These companies aren't doing it. And plenty of independent companies who can't even bother with the AI shit because they'll just get blown out of the water for it.
We've always said that, like, there will never be a full crash again like the 80s, right? Like, it will never be like
it's too big.
No video games are coming out. There will always be an indie scene now. That lid has been popped. It's never going to go back on top, right? But I do think that there is a chance that we will see, like, big AAA development halt potentially and crash for a very long time. Like, if people stop buying this shit because they just physically, it either becomes unattainable through price or because they are tired of all this AI shit, like all of it.
They keep on putting the budget, they expect more numbers, and you're not going to get those numbers, and sooner or later you're not going to have it.
And people are going to keep going back further and further to some of this old stuff and just keep doing it that way. And I think that us doing this thing is going to become, like, more and more important for our sanity as far as liking this art medium goes, because there's going to be so many times that we're just going to be.
There's going to be plenty of other stuff that we just got to focus on going back to the stuff we like, and then the few things that are coming out are good, like Replaced, as far as I'm aware, that has no AI in it. It's just awesome fucking looking pixel art.
No, and it probably won't, right? Because it's an indie. It's an indie game, right? It's like right, and that's what I mean. Is like it's not to say that there won't be new stuff.
Or I would
but
hope
like
the new Star Wars game does not have AI shit pushed in. Galactic Racer's not going to have hopefully AI pushed into that kind of bullshit.
But it's EA, so and it's owned by that Saudi company, so probably though.
Who knows? We'll see.
Right, and so it's like I hope not, but at this point, like it's looking more and more like that's the shit that they're going to try to do, and so it's just it's all that stuff, right? And so it's just
Preston over here in denial about EA owned companies. No, it's not
Star Wars owned companies for the most part, actually. Which is bad companies.
But like, it was just very frustrating to have this moment because I was like, as I was thinking more about how crazy it is that Arc Raiders even exists in the way that it does, all of this new AI shit was happening. I was just like, I don't even want to fuck. Now I can't even. Now even that I have this this cool thing where I'm like, man, it's like kind of insane that we have this giant flash in the pan of a return of like early 2000s social gaming, and we just like, but now I can't even let myself enjoy it because I'm like, fuck you and all this AI bullshit.
Yeah, I don't care much about Arc Raiders AI and shit. That's not as egregious to me. So,
but here's the thing, and look again, I'm not saying that people shouldn't play, right? Like you do whatever you want, but for me, it feels like, again, it's one of those, like, you give a mouse a cookie things. Like,
unfortunately, you've already given that mouse that cookie. You've already paid the money. They got you.
Right, and you're right. And so what I'm going, that's the decision that I'm saying is that it's like, I'm done doing that. The only thing I can do is just not be a part of it anymore, because that's the only thing that you can do. And so, and then going forward as well. But it's one of those things where it's just like, as soon as I feel like you start making this line where it's like, well, okay, I'm okay with this level of AI use. That's all that fucking Nvidia and all these other companies want. They're like, I just need a little bit, because once I get you with this little bit, then I can keep it going and be like, well, I guess I'm okay with it this time, or now I'm okay with it this time because it's in a franchise that I love and all this other shit. It's like they're just gonna keep fucking do until the whole industry is full of fucking making Grace from Resident Evil 9 look like a fucking clown.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm not pressing you. Can buy Star Wars guilt-free. I don't care. It's okay.
I will. It's okay.
That's fine. I'm not arguing, but I'm saying just for me.
Cool.
I was just talking with you guys about it.
Good.
Why are you so sassy about
I'm
this?
just trying to continue the conversation without being awkward and silent, man. I don't know what you want me to say. What the fuck you want me to say? Me too, Christian. I'm right behind you.
No, you don't have to say that.
Okay.
Because I know you don't mean
I was
it.
going to say good. Okay.
Anyway, we played Street Fighter.
We did. It was fun.
Yeah. That was my tee off.
It took me 10 to 11 matches.
And we watched the championship.
You watched parts of the championship of Capcom Cup. Because they made us
fools.
Because they want us to pay for the top 10 or whatever, the finals, and we couldn't figure out how to even
I
do
tried
that.
too.
So
to be fair, I was going to be the problem, and Preston and I both tried. We both tried to figure it out, and it just would not let us purchase it. It was very annoying.
It seemed like we had to be Japanese to watch the Capcom Cup finals.
I did not try, but I was invested. So there's that.
Yeah,
I was invested. Yeah.
Which, you know what? That's all Preston and I have ever asked of you, so that's fine.
Very progressive of you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, true.
But yes, Street Fighter 6 was awesome. Got to play some Alex. I do really like him. It hasn't been like the last few to where it's like, I kind of like how the character does and it has moves and looks and stuff like that, but it just didn't hit with me. Kind of felt that way with Elena. I felt that way with Sagat. I felt that way with Mai to a point, to where I just didn't feel connected to like a new main like I did with Cammy. But Alex feels good. Alex feels real good. I thought it was going to get a lot complicated. It seems like it's not as complicated as I was worried about, so I'm down for it. We're getting a lot of cool shit out of that one. So.
He's got good stuff.
One of these Star Wars Sundays will end a little early, get to a final part, and I might just jump in some Street Fighter, so keep an eye on that one. You're not playing Star Wars games this week, so that's kind of depressing, but that's okay, because we'll get into it next week, and then I'll be reminded that you don't have to play Star Wars games, because not all of them are good. Because next week, we're going to start up Obi-Wan, the exclusive Xbox game on the original Xbox. And I haven't messed around with that since it came out.
So you're not doing episode 2 of the Game Boy Advance game?
I would have to figure out how to get a preserved copy from someone at that point, and we'll work on that. That's too much work for me right now. I just want to be able to plug in.
I feel like I could get you a preserved copy pretty easily.
Yeah, but then I gotta figure out emulation and stuff like that. Not emulation. I gotta figure out how to play that preserved copy on my computer, and it's more work than I care to. And I made a decision to just do that one. And to be fair, to get that one out of the way, because I think that's the last Xbox only Star Wars game that I need to fuck around with. So get that one out of the way.
I forgot about this Obi-Wan game.
Most people do, and it's only on Xbox, so you can't get anywhere else. So we'll mess around with that and see how it goes. So that'll be me on Sunday, and then. Which I mentioned, Pokemon Leaf and Green. Not too much to add to that. I got to Cerulean City. Misty beat my ass. My Pokemon are like level 17-ish. And her last one, Starmie, is like level 21.
I thought you were much farther in that for some reason.
No, I beat Brock last time, and then I didn't take it with me for our weekend vacation. I'll just go see Travis and his beautiful wedding. And then I came back and I played a little bit the other night. And yeah, that progress does require you to go move on and do other things. So went through the whole Nugget Road section, still not leveled up enough. Now I'm just going, I guess, into like the next town just to like see if I can start leveling myself up. Got some bell sprouts for my fire red homies out there, so got that for you guys if you guys need them. But yeah, as far as exclusive from Leaf Green and Fire Red, like I found the list of those exclusives that I get on my system, so that way if we need to, I can I have a couple extra in the box, so that way for you and Jake, since you guys both got the red version, so.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
which ones do you need?
I would have to look it up. There's a small list of it, but yeah, we'll have to take a look.
Okay.
Yeah, Bellsprout is one of those that you guys don't get, so I grabbed a couple of those. I just found an image of it and saved it up on my phone, so I can be like, okay, these Pokemon, if I see them, try to grab a couple. And then we'll lead into last week, the week before that, we did play some Splitgate 2 with Jake. Mm-hmm. We were just like, hey, we got a night where all four of us can hang out. Let's go and play a game. And we know that he likes Splitgate 2, and it's a free game. So that's why we downloaded it, and I had a lot of fun with it. It felt good. It wasn't as crazy with the portals. I was actually doing pretty decently on some. I wasn't getting top kills, but I was getting positive KDs, which is an improvement for Preston in general when it comes to shooters. So had a lot of fun with that. Loved the different weapons in there. The progression is a little don't want to say it's a little much, but it was when you go into this, you want to play with your friends for a night, and you find out you can only have a couple of guns to play with. You don't have all the guns to play with, so you have to mess around with it. It kind of sucked, but it's a free-to-play game. You just put time into it, you'll get those guns sooner or later, and then it happens fairly quickly. But yeah, no, I had a bunch of a great fun time with playing with you guys. It was like playing multiplayer Halo all over again.
Yeah, I playing with Christian and Jake. There were a few games I came in second in kills and KD. There was one game I came in first on the team. We lost the game, so I didn't get to celebrate it.
Yeah, so you didn't get your little video montage.
I didn't get my little character running in first or whatever. But it was
imagine
fun.
Jake sitting in the background being like, "A lot of fucking good that does us."
It felt good. Jake did invite me then to play. I don't know if I responded to that text message. When he invited me, I may not have. Jake, I promise.
Jake, let us know in the comments. He's been a busy boy.
I promise. When you texted me, I was out of town. I don't remember if I was in Austin or Chicago, but I was out of town. Give me a couple of weeks, and hopefully I'll have some time to play. So if I did not respond to you, because I really don't remember, I'm so sorry.
It happens.
But to be fair, I haven't been responding to a lot of people recently, so
you being busy is not an understatement.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Anything else, Preston?
No, I'm going to your week.
I don't have a week. I played nothing. I played the book club game and nothing else.
Yes, I did play the book club.
So, yeah.
So for Splitgate, I do want to say I do think it is cool that it definitely, despite the developers kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit,
the CEO
from some of the marketing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because I think the rest of the developers also got trouble on social media because I think they were all kind of popping off too. But yeah, he started it for sure during the fucking thing, during the show. But what I was gonna say was, it does definitely try to emulate that feel and go for it, right? The only thing I kept it's ingrained in my head, but when we played it that night, because that was my first time playing it, I think it was your first time too, Preston. It was just Alex was the one who had played it before.
I had not played the Arena Reloaded, and it's much better than it was before.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that Steam review of people being upset about the progression system in that game. And the dude who went that 3-paragraph rant that I read to you guys. I don't know why, but anytime I think about that game now, it's just I think about that dude seething over the progression system of that game, and it makes me laugh every time. But no, it is. They definitely try to nail the feel of those old arena shooters and go through that.
Yeah.
The progression system of the free battle pass is wild. So I hopped on and played for 2 hours before everybody else got on, just to make sure it was downloaded and stuff. I think Christian, we were waiting for him to get home from doing some other stuff.
That's cool.
And from the 2 hours before to the time we played the end of the night, I think I made it from level 0 to level 62 on that battle pass.
Yeah, I made it a lot. I made it really far on the battle pass. That part's not the problem, though. The problem that people have is that
the guns.
Yeah, you have to play for a while to unlock good weapons, but some of those weapons are objectively better than the other ones. And so it's I have to just keep losing in fights to be able to get to the good weapons, to then I can start playing on equal playing field of we were talking about this, but one of the matches that we did where I lost out to some dude because he had the stim, and Jake was like, "Oh yeah, stim is the way. You have to go do that." And I was like, "All right." And I looked and it was like, "Oh, I'm not even I have to get to level character level 25 or some shit or whatever it was for." And it's like, "Oh, so I'm just fucked then until that happens." Yeah, sure, but in a competitive game, imagine
a free to play competitive.
If we're playing, huh?
But yeah, a free to play competitive game, which makes it a little bit different. Yeah,
I don't think so. It's still a competitive game. I'm still playing. It doesn't matter whether it's free to play or not. It's the competitive aspect. Imagine if I'm playing Street Fighter or 2XKO, which is also free, but I'm playing and it's oh, well, the longer you play, you'll get access to this character's level 3. It's what the fuck do you mean I'll get no, just give me the shit right now and then make everything else that I unlock later cosmetic. I understand in other games where you're oh, we're going to do this reward playstyle of rewarding you for playing more. And it's like, yeah, but if rewarding me for playing more gives me an advantage over other players that they can't do anything about until they just also put in that much time, that is not great feeling for when you're trying to onboard somebody into the game. I do think that only happens in like one-on-one firefight scenarios where, like, if I get the drop on somebody outside of the stim usage, which is a fucking cheat code sometimes, it feels like, but outside of that, like, if you have one of the worst weapons and you get the drop on somebody, you're still gonna get the kill. Like, you'll be fine. But if you are like dead eye with somebody and I have like the fucking level, like the first marksman rifle, and they've got whatever the good one is, like the level 3 one, yeah, you're fucked. You are losing that fight 10 times out of 10. But if you get, like I said, if you get the drop on somebody, it's fine. So especially when you're playing with friends, it doesn't. I don't think it comes up too much.
It's a little crazy too, the way they decided to give people stuff. So like where I had played before the Arena Reloaded and where I had played Split
yeah, you got all the guns just for trying the beta.
Yeah, Well, I guess was it beta or early access or whatever, but they're like, yeah,
whatever it was.
You had your level beforehand, so you just keep it. Here's all the stuff. So like I had guns that were like unlocked way down the list, where the ones in between the good one and the bad one were still locked because they're just like, oh, you had earned it before, here it is. It is wild the way they did that, but so yeah.
But that's also like, it was, and it was fun, and it was honestly, I know Jake had mentioned before that you keep seeing the same people like as you play it more, and we were seeing that even in the matches that we were playing, we were seeing repeat names already that night, right? And it just shows, obviously the community's small and things like that. But it was actually one of those, another thing that I thought about when I was having that larger thought about all these games and stuff, like about, it's like people do want to emulate and go back to those old stuff. Because like shooters today are just not, they don't play like this one. It's not the same way, anything like that. But it is interesting to see which ones, for whatever reason, will catch on versus not catch on or anything along those lines. But it was a fun time. If all four of us are on again, we should totally,
definitely,
that's a fun one to hop into.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, everybody, hey, thank you for hanging out with us this week. Don't forget to check in with Preston Star Wars Sunday, and then of course prior to that we have our first episode of BioShock 2 for our video game book club, so check in with that one. And thanks for hanging out, everybody. Preston, you know what to do.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or to check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. If watching is more your thing, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@thetestingroom, or watch us live on twitch.tv/testingroomlive. To leave comments or ask questions, you can follow us on Instagram @testingroompod, leave a comment on YouTube, or send them in to testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.